Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, go fetch. This phrase might sound a little funny at first, but it's actually really common. Go fetch means to go and get something and bring it back. It comes from what we say to dogs when we want them to run after a ball or stick and bring it back to us. But people use it with each other too, especially in a playful or casual way. Let me tell you a story about this. Last weekend, I was at my friend Sarah's house, and we were making cookies together. Sarah realized we were out of vanilla extract, so she looked at her younger brother, who was just sitting on the couch playing video games. She said, "Hey Jake, go fetch the vanilla from the store for us." It was kind of like she was treating him like a helpful dog, but in a sweet, teasing way. And you know what? He actually went and got it for us. For example, a mom might say to her teenage son, "Go fetch my glasses from upstairs, please." You might hear something like, "Can you go fetch the mail from the mailbox?" Here's another one. "I forgot my phone in the car. Could you go fetch it for me?" The word fetch by itself just means to go get something, but when you say go fetch, it sounds more direct and sometimes playful. Have you ever heard someone use this expression before? Let me know in the comments if you think you could use this in your daily life. Number 2, here we go. Oh, this expression is everywhere. Here we go is something we say when we're about to start something, especially something that might be exciting, challenging, or that we've done many times before. It's like saying, "Okay, let's start," or "It's beginning now." I have the perfect story for this one. My neighbor has 3 young kids, and every morning is like organized chaos. Yesterday, I heard her say, "All right, kids, backpacks, lunch boxes, shoes on. Here we go," as they were all rushing out the door to get to school. She uses this expression almost every single morning because it's the same routine over and over again. For example, when you're about to watch a movie you've been waiting for, you might say, "Here we go." You might hear something like, "The roller coaster is starting to move. Here we go. Let's take this one." When your favorite sports team is about to play an important game, you could say, "Here we go, this is the big moment." This expression is so natural and useful. You can use it when you're starting your car, beginning a workout, or even just starting to cook dinner. It shows you're ready and maybe a little excited about what's coming next. Do you think you'll remember to use this one? Number 3. Nothing much. This is probably one of the most common answers you'll hear in casual English conversations. Nothing much is what we say when someone asks, "What's up?" or "What are you doing?" and we don't really have anything exciting or important to report. It means you're not doing anything special or interesting at the moment. Here's a really typical situation. Yesterday, I ran into my old college friend Maria at the grocery store. She said, "Hey, what have you been up to lately?" And I said, "Oh, nothing much, just work and hanging out at home. You know how it is." It's the perfect answer when your life is pretty normal and routine. For example, if someone texts you, "What's up?" you can simply reply, "Nothing much, just watching TV." You might hear something like, "I called my dad and asked what he was doing, and he said nothing much, just reading the newspaper." Here's another one. "My weekend was pretty quiet. Nothing much happened." The beauty of this expression is that it's honest but not negative. You're not complaining that your life is boring, you're just saying things are calm and normal. People often say this because we don't always have exciting news to share, and that's perfectly okay. Which situations do you think you might use "nothing much" in? Number 4. How long will it take? This is such a practical sentence that you'll use all the time. How long will it take means you want to know the amount of time something will need from start to finish. It's a really important question for planning your day and managing your time. Let me share something that happened to me just this week. I took my car to get an oil change, and the first thing I asked the mechanic was, "How long will it take?" He told me about 30 minutes, so I knew I could walk to the coffee shop next door and come back. This question helps you plan what to do while you wait. For example, before going to the doctor, you might call and ask, "How long will it take for my appointment?" You might hear something like, "I'm thinking about dyeing my hair. How long will it take at the salon?" Let's take this one. We're planning a road trip to the mountains. How long will it take to drive there? This sentence is super useful for everything: cooking, cleaning, work projects, travel, and appointments. Native speakers ask this question constantly because we all want to know how to plan our time. Have you ever needed to ask this question in English before? It's one of those sentences that makes daily life so much easier when you know how to use it naturally. Number 5. Do not follow me. This sentence is very direct and clear. Do not follow me means exactly what it says. You're telling someone to stop walking behind you or coming after you. It can be serious, like if you feel unsafe, or it can be lighter, like when you're playing around with friends or family. I remember when I was babysitting my cousin's 6-year-old daughter Emma last month. She kept following me everywhere I went in the house, even to the bathroom. Finally, I had to gently say, "Emma, do not follow me into the bathroom, okay? I need some privacy." She giggled and waited outside. Sometimes kids follow adults everywhere and you need to set some boundaries. For example, if you're walking alone at night and you notice someone behind you making you uncomfortable, you might firmly say, "Do not follow me." You might hear something like, "I'm going to surprise Mom with a birthday gift, so do not follow me to the store." Here's another one. "I'm trying to train my puppy, so do not follow me when I leave the room, or he'll never learn to stay." This sentence can sound serious or playful depending on your tone of voice and the situation. The important thing is that it's very clear and direct. Native speakers use this when they need space, privacy, or when they want to be alone for any reason. When do you think you might need to use this expression? Number 6. How do you spell that? This is such a useful question, especially when you're learning English. How do you spell that means you want someone to tell you the correct letters in order for a word you just heard. Even native speakers ask this question all the time, especially with names, addresses, or unusual words. Just last week, I was on the phone with customer service, and the representative gave me a confirmation number. It sounded like XR7BQ9, but I wasn't sure, so I asked, "Could you repeat that? And how do you spell the letter parts?" This happens to everyone, not just English learners. Phone calls can make things hard to hear clearly. For example, when you meet someone new and they tell you their name, you might say, "Nice to meet you. How do you spell that?" You might hear something like, "I live on Kensington Street." How do you spell Kensington? Let's take this one. My doctor prescribed a new medicine, but I have no idea how to spell it. This question is so normal and natural. Don't feel embarrassed to ask it. Native speakers ask this question every single day. It shows you care about getting things right, and people appreciate that. It's much better to ask than to guess and get it wrong. Have you ever needed to ask someone how to spell something in English? Number 7. Do you have a reservation? This is a very common question you'll hear at restaurants, hotels, hair salons, and many other businesses. Do you have a reservation means they're asking if you called ahead of time to book or save a spot. A reservation is like holding a table or room for you at a specific time. Here's what happened to me last Friday night. My boyfriend and I decided to try a new Italian restaurant downtown. When we walked in, the hostess at the front smiled and asked, "Hi, do you have a reservation?" We hadn't called ahead, so we said no, and she told us it would be about a 45-minute wait. Next time, we'll definitely make a reservation first. For example, when you walk into a busy restaurant, the host will often ask, "Do you have a reservation?" You might hear something like, "I'm calling the spa to see if they have any openings." Do you have a reservation for a massage today? Here's another one. The hotel lobby was packed, and the front desk clerk asked every person, "Do you have a reservation?" This question is super important to understand, especially when you're traveling or trying new places. Sometimes you need a reservation, and sometimes you don't. If you don't have one, they might still have space, or you might need to wait. It's always good to ask when you're planning to go somewhere special. Do you usually make reservations, or do you prefer to just show up and see what happens? Number 8. I locked myself out again. Oh my goodness, this sentence tells such a common and frustrating story. I locked myself out again means you accidentally closed the door and left your keys inside, so now you can't get back into your house or car. The word "again" shows this has happened to you before, which makes it even more annoying. This literally happened to my roommate Jessica just 2 weeks ago. She ran outside to grab something from her car, and the wind blew our front door shut behind her. She didn't have her keys, and I wasn't home. She called me and said, "I can't believe it, I locked myself out again. This is the 3rd time this month." We had to call a locksmith, and it cost her $150. Now she always carries her keys, even just to get the mail. For example, you might call a friend and say, "Hey, can you help me? I locked myself out again." You might hear something like, "I was rushing to work this morning and locked myself out again. I had to climb through the window." Let's take this one. My mom always keeps a spare key hidden because my dad locks himself out again every few months. This is one of those things that happens to almost everyone at some point. It's frustrating, expensive, and embarrassing, but it's also very human and normal. When you use "again" in this sentence, it shows you're a little frustrated with yourself. Have you ever locked yourself out before? Let me know in the comments what you did to get back inside. Number 9. I was gonna say that. This is such a natural, everyday expression. I was gonna say that means you were just about to say the exact same thing that someone else just said. Gonna is the casual way to say going to, and this whole phrase shows that you and another person were thinking the same thing at the same time. This happens to me all the time with my sister. Just yesterday, we were watching a cooking show together, and the chef started making chocolate cake. Right when I opened my mouth to say, "That looks delicious," my sister said the exact same words. So I laughed and said, "I was gonna say that." It's that funny moment when two people have the same thought. For example, you're with friends choosing a movie and someone says, "Let's watch that new comedy," and you might respond, "I was gonna say that." You might hear something like, "When my coworker suggested ordering pizza for lunch, I said, I was gonna say that. I'm so hungry for pizza right now." Here's another one. "My husband and I were looking at the weather, and when he said it might rain, I told him, I was gonna say that. Those clouds look really dark." This expression shows that you're on the same wavelength as someone else. It's a fun way to connect with people and show that you were thinking similarly. It makes conversations feel more natural and friendly. Do you ever have moments where you and someone else say the same thing at the same time? Number 10. Strike a pose. This phrase is so fun and playful. Strike a pose means to quickly get into a position that looks good for a photo or just to look cool and confident. It comes from modeling and photography, where models strike or suddenly move into a beautiful pose. But now everyone uses it, especially when taking pictures. My teenage niece taught me this one. Last month at a family barbecue, everyone was taking photos by the pool. My niece shouted, "Okay, everyone, strike a pose." And suddenly everyone started posing differently. Some people put their hands on their hips, others smiled big, and my uncle even flexed his muscles jokingly. It was hilarious and made the photo so much more fun than just standing there normally. For example, when you're taking a group photo, someone might say, "All right, strike a pose." You might hear something like, "The photographer told the bride and groom to strike a pose by the fountain." Let's take this one. My friends and I were at the beach taking selfies, and my friend said, "Strike a pose with that sunset behind you." This phrase makes taking photos more fun and energetic. It's like saying, "Look confident and beautiful right now." Even if you're just being silly, it helps people relax and smile naturally. You'll hear this phrase a lot on social media, at parties, and anytime people are taking pictures. Have you ever had someone tell you to strike a pose for a photo? Let's recap what we learned today. We covered 10 super useful expressions that native English speakers use every single day. We learned "go fetch" for asking someone to get something, "here we go" when we're starting something new, and "nothing much" as the perfect casual answer. We talked about "how long will it take" for planning your time, "do not follow me" for setting boundaries, and "how do you spell that" for getting information right. We also covered "do you have a reservation," which you'll hear at restaurants and hotels. "I locked myself out again" for those frustrating moments we all have. "I was gonna say that" when you're thinking the same thing as someone else, and "strike a pose" for making photos more fun and confident. These expressions will make your English sound so much more natural and help you connect better with native speakers. Practice using them in your daily conversations, and don't be afraid to try them out. If this video helped you today, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more English lessons like this one. Tomorrow, I'll be back with 10 more common idioms, phrases, and sentences that will take your English to the next level. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? Let me know in the comments which one you're most excited to start using. Take care and keep practicing your English. I'll see you in the next video.